Push it again.
Is it recording?
No. Yeah, it is. Now it's going.
Good pet me. Forget, don't say it here.
I'd love both. Okay. Where's it going? Oh, that's it. Okay. Right over here. Oh, I'll take it. What's you got? Okay, let's see. You got, what's that right? 1 5 Hi, Mom. Perfect lamp. Yeah. Better than him.
You from the top of the power?
Yeah.
Recording?
Oh, what did you? No,
You recording this now?
I was
gonna stick my teeth in
Are we all through now?
Oh.
Hi, kids.
No, picture pitch.
All right, it's going now.
That's right. I don't know what table we're at. Franny said she was here.
get a view from that side.
Where's your mother?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
That's
what I wanted.
everything. Give me power.
Power.
Ready? Let me know when you're ready.
Let her rip. Here we are, finally, up on top. This is sort of the climax of the afternoon. If you look, Sean,
And Southern and Sleeping Giant.
well, here we are, on top, and it certainly is nice. So come on up and check it out. This is Hubbard Park in Meriden, Connecticut, off of West Main Street. And Castle Craig is not that hard to find, and it is Meriden's landmark. So check it out. The view up here is absolutely spectacular.
Oh, the girl ahead of me. Oh, there he is.
So I don't know whether I imagine the weather took a beat.
The railing, go. Steve, let's go with Steven. People are coming up. Steven, you hold down this side. Let's go. That's
Is it recording?
Jody said they're having a stay. Jamie. I just took it for
About a 20th time.
We're going over and look in the tent and see.
Can't come up here right now, ladies. Yes, sir, man.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, we never will again either. No. Dude, don't.
Would you want to borrow the cars over here? You're not going. No, you're not going way down there.
Mark, I first would like to congratulate you for the fine job that you have done. I want to welcome everyone here. I'm not going to be long-winded because I'm not a long-winded politician. You know that from the past. And I don't want to pollute the air up here at Covered Park. Now, I think our first man that I will introduce is Mayor Joseph Martin, and he will bring you the welcome of the city. Our Mayor Joseph Martin.
Reverend clergy, the many dignitaries that are here, and friends, let me officially extend a warm welcome to each of you on this glorious afternoon, although it's getting a little cloudy now. And a little colder, too. For today, we seek, in some small way, to honor the foresight and courage of one of our fellow Meridenites, Walter Hubbard, a gentleman who possessed that rare quality of accurate foresight, a gentleman who recognized that with the privilege of being a Meridenite carried with it a responsibility. Responsibility that requires giving back of one's talents and resources to their community. For without that spirit and commitment of giving back, any community is doomed to wander aimlessly, and indifference becomes the norm. And while we seek to rededicate this beautiful monument, we should also recognize that this castle is much, much more than just stone and mortar. It epitomizes Mr. Hubbard's faith in Meriden and gratitude to Meriden and its citizens. And it should represent to all of us a certain challenge. A challenge simply to leave Meriden a better community than we found it. A Meriden woven tightly together by a genuine concern for all of its citizens. A Meriden that possesses that rare commodity of moral courage. Moral courage that allows us to eagerly search out for the solutions to the challenges of the present and, more importantly, the future. Let us commit ourselves not to solve those challenges by simply mimicking others. Let Meriden be Meriden, and let us recognize its uniqueness and rich heritage, and let us not attempt to mold it into another's frame. Let our solutions be as unique as this beautiful castle and exhibit a concern for the future of Meriden and its generations to come. Concern that Mr. Hubbard possessed and that Castle Craig stands as proud witness to. And so, as we dedicate Castle Craig this afternoon, let us rededicate ourselves to that same spirit of commitment to community that Walter Hubbard possessed. There could be no more a fitting dedication to his work than if we leave this beautiful mountaintop here this afternoon with a renewed sense of community. For together, we can make Meriden that better community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. I don't know whether you realize it or not, but Walter Hubbard was a councilman back in 1867, I believe it was. So he not only was a philanthropist, he was a politician. The next speaker I want to introduce Reverend Paul Kennefick. I don't know what language he's going to talk in today. He speaks 7 languages. Father Kennefick.
Heavenly Father, we ask that the events of this day here begin with your inspiration. May they continue with your saving help. And may everything we do find its origin in you and through you reach completion. Amen.
I didn't mean him to be that brief. I thought that he could carry us through and gain some points. The next speaker is the chairman of the Daffodil Committee, Thomas Potter, and I want to congratulate him upon the fine job that he has done in putting this whole thing together.
Good afternoon. The reason everyone else is brief is because I was elected to be the long-winded one. I have to do the history. A statement in the publication of A Century of Meriden says, Meriden possesses, at the end of the first century of its existence, a park system of which its residents may well be justly proud, for in both area and scenic beauty, it is unexcelled by any city in New England. We are standing at the top of a 1,200-acre park, named Hubbard Park in 1898 after Walter E. Hubbard, who gathered the land together over a 3-year period and gave it to us. In it, he developed such wonders as the Maid of the Mist, the fountain bubbling up near its entrance, a Grecian temple which serves as a pavilion, Mirror Lake, called that because its protected location gives it a surface-like glass, and a beautiful and functional Lake Mirror Reservoir,
panoramic view of an outcropping called Fair View, the huge boulders making up the Giants Playground and Boulder Bluff, all part of the hanging hills of Meriden. It now contains a swimming pool, tennis courts, picnic grounds, children's play area, ball field, skating house, and since the first daffodil popped up on April 2nd, 1945, the careful encouragement of their increase to almost 500,000 daffodils by former Park Superintendent James J. Barry and his successors. They cover the slopes below in about 51 varieties, along with 18 other varied flower beds throughout the park. Ever since 1900, the park has also been crowned by this majestic Meriden landmark, our Castle Craig, which he also built and donated. Who was this Walter E. Hubbard? This man called Meriden's greatest single benefactor? He was a quiet, unassuming farm boy, born in Middletown on September 23, 1828. He died a childless widower, 1 month before his 83rd birthday. Just listen to what he accomplished between those 2 days. At age 18, he went to work as a store clerk in Meriden, and in only 5 years opened his own dry goods store here also. In 1852, he married Abby Ann Bradley, who died a few months later. He never remarried. His only living descendants are the family of Gloria Pierce Gould, who was the granddaughter of his niece Bessie Hubbard Pierce. And Gloria and her family were formerly of Essex, but now we believe residents of Florida, so we couldn't get hold of them. In 1854, Mr. Hubbard formed a partnership with his brother-in-law Nathaniel Bradley to manufacture kerosene lamps. Within 21 years, that business was incorporated as an expanded 6-acre, 4-story building, the Bradley and Hubbard Manufacturing Company, of which he was president for 25 years. Hubbard was also an organizer and second president of the Meriden Trust and Safe Deposit Company, president of the Meriden Cutlery Company, president of the Meriden Electric Light Company, which became Connecticut Light and Power, and, as Henry said, a councilman on the first city council of Meriden under Mayor Charles Parker. He also constructed, and you may not know this, the Winthrop Hotel, which was in the center of town. It was one of the finest hotels in New England. Upon his death, he left, in addition to this park and that tower, $50,000 in trust for the upkeep of this park, $50,000 for the worthy poor of Meriden, $25,000 more for the Curtis Memorial Library, now our Heritage and Culture Building, $10,000 more for the First Congregational Church of Meriden, $5,000 for the Meriden Boys Club, and then he gave $30,000 outright to a number of local churches and organizations, including the Meriden Fire Department Relief Fund, the YMCA, and the YWCA. It was in such ways that Mr. Hubbard gratefully remembered the city which had aided him in his rise to wealth and prominence. In 1883 and 84, he traveled extensively throughout Europe, where he became fascinated with the original of our beloved Castle Craig. He determined to reproduce that tower on East Peak and directed a draftsman in his employ, Stuart Douglas by name, to design and build this tower he had seen someplace, with stone from the hanging hills. Theories claim that the inspiration was a Norman tower of France, or a Turkish one from along the Danube, or a Scottish fortress tower of northern Caledonia, Scotland. At one time, a brother-in-law of Douglas wrote from Tacoma to Wayne C. Smith, former publisher of the Record and Journal, to declare that the tower was indeed a Norman French inspiration. Webster's dictionary adds to the confusion by defining the word crag as being of Celtic origin, Welsh, Irish, Scotch, and English, where it is spelled craig. Now, a crag or craig is defined as a steep, rugged rock, a rough, broken cliff, a projecting point of rock. and the site of this castle is very well described in that definition. Take your pick. At any rate, there it stands, a proud, silent sentinel in perpetual guardianship over all of Meriden and of the beautiful park below. A symbol of strength, of dignity, of majesty. It is 1,000 feet above sea level, the highest point within 50 miles of the coast. One of the wonderful things about it is the fact that in one direction, that way, on a clear day you can see New Haven, the rippling waters of Long Island Sound, and the dark mass of Long Island itself. And to the north, the outlines of the green hills of southern Massachusetts. When Walter Hubbard first dedicated it to Meriden on October 29, 1900, it had a nearly vertical ladder to the top and a single horizontal safety bar at the top. In 1933, iron grills replaced the bar, a metal floor was added to the observation level, and metal stairs were installed from top to bottom. Due to eventual deterioration and some mindless vandalism, it was declared unsafe recently, but thanks to the donation of over $22,000 by generous citizens, it was put back into the even better shape in which we find it today. This day, we attempt to recreate that festive dedication of 86 years ago, when, according to the October 30th issue of the Meriden Daily Journal, a large number of members of the Court of Common Council, together with other dignitaries, attended an oyster roast in the shadow of the tower. Westbound trolleys were crowded with citizens who used this form of transportation to bring them to the park area, from where they had a long and arduous trek on foot to the tower. There was also a number of persons who drove to the top of the mountain in their own carriages. At 2 o'clock, it was estimated that approximately 250 guests were in attendance. Their genial host, Mr. Hubbard, had provided 6 barrels of oysters and a barrel of clams. These were roasted over a big fire under the direction of CWF Pardee of the Winthrop Hotel and P.J. Quigley, a local contractor, with the assistance of 12 men. The tower itself was the center of attraction, and nearly everyone had something to say concerning the beautiful scenery and Mr. Hubbard's benevolence. During the afternoon, several group photographs were taken. 3 cheers were given for Mr. Hubbard by the visitors. They were called for by Judge Wilbur F. Davis, who acclaimed Mr. Hubbard as the first citizen of Meriden. A large flag was raised on the tower at noon by contractor Quigley, and as it floated to the breeze, 3 rousing cheers were again given. Given the changes which have taken place between then and now, let's see how well we are doing in our recreation. There were approximately 250 people in attendance that day. We have at least 1,000, with about 500 of those having purchased dinner tickets. They came in trolleys and walked up or drove their carriages up. We came to the park in automobiles and made the trip up the mountain in shuttle buses. Thank goodness. Some of his friends had roast oysters and clams that day. We have also provided them for those who chose to dine here today, plus some champagne and an entree of fine rib roast beef. Their food was prepared by Pardee and Quigley plus 12 others. Ours by Lord only knows how many stalwart men of the Meriden Lions Club. Then the tower was the center of attraction, along with the beautiful scenery and Mr. Hubbard's benevolence. It is the same today, apparently. They took several group photographs that day. We are having a videotape made by Patrick Bremer and Derek Altieri of Mr. Alec LeGoy's Maloney video movie class, and you are all on that tape. During that afternoon, for all he had done, 3 cheers were given for Mr. Hubbard. When I got to this point and asked the committee what they thought about having you people give 3 cheers following a hip hip from this podium, they said I was crazy, that that was an old-fashioned thing that would never go with this group, and I think they're wrong. So, will you follow me in a hip hip hooray? Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Thank you. I'm right and they're wrong. Now, at an appropriate time in the ceremony, then, they unfurled the flag on the top of the tower, and as it floated gently in the breeze, they applauded for that flag. Behold the flag of these United States of America. Let us show our appreciation as well for that same flag. Thank you. I am very certain, ladies and gentlemen, that Walter E. Hubbard, who undoubtedly is looking down from a point directly overhead, would thank you from the bottom of his wonderfully generous heart. And I thank you also. Thank you, Tom. That was a great speech. Hip, hip, hooray. Hip, hooray. The next speaker, I don't know how to go about this. I never introduced a Republican congressman. This young lad is really making a record for himself. And I give to you now Congressman John Rowland.
Thank you very much, Henry. You did just fine. I can't help but notice many of you in the audience looking skyward, and I can only tell you that we've made it this far. Nothing is going to happen, so don't worry. It's really indeed a great year for us in Connecticut. I spent yesterday morning in New Haven when we launched off the 350th parade march with several 100,000 people participating. And now today we celebrate the 86th year rededication. I think if we pause for a moment, we realize that this year, 1986, gives us a tremendous opportunity to pause for a few moments and look back on tradition and history. And some great philosopher once said that you don't know where you're going until you know where you've been. And this gives us a chance to look back in the Meriden community and a little bit of tradition and find out just what has made this community. It also gives us a chance to look forward, to realize that we need to continue in a positive, progressive manner. We're going to make the same quality of life for ourselves, for our children and our grandchildren. So as you leave today, take a special moment to talk with your youngster. I see so many here today. Tell them a little bit about Meriden history. Bring them into the traditional values that we so cherish, and help us to go forward in the next generation and the generation after that to see bigger and better things happening for this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman. Boy, if you can promise that it doesn't rain, and it doesn't rain, I think I'll have to look at some of your promises that you're making. Now we have the last elected formal mayor by the public, and the first elected mayor by the council. I give to you Walter Avila, a councilman, former mayor.
Thank you, Henry. I think that second distinction belongs to Bill Tracy. Back in 1984, it's very hard to follow. The speaker's back right at you. Some citizens decided that they had enough with the condition of the Castle Craig. And they started out on a project which was to raise some $22,000 so we could renovate this place without using city dollars. And I'd like to read the list of names of those folks and ask them to come forward, if they're here, to accept a certificate of appreciation. There's one name missing, and that fellow was one of the organizers. I see him here, and I'll ask him to come up first, Ed Pyatek. I'm going to read the list of names so that we can keep on going. The Napier Foundation, the Insoko Foundation, Meriden Manufacturing Company, Philip A. Shaw, Cole Associates Incorporated, Maureen and Warren Bilger, MRM Industries Incorporated, the FIP Corporation, Emil Aldebello Jr., Marietta and Robert Godone, the Meriden Record Company, Ada Huber, Helen M. Powell, the Meriden Cooper Corporation, the Horton Print Company, Elizabeth C., Colony Hardware Supply Incorporated, Fred Nell, CN Flag Company, and John Mackey, who did the redesign of the Castle Crag. I'm leaving one off, the one on the bottom, to, I notice my name is on this program twice, but I think I'll do it all together, and that is, of the $22,000, $12,000 was given by the Meriden Lions Club. And I think there is no question that the Meriden Lions Club has done so much for the city of Meriden that it's just beyond imagination. I know as mayor for 2 terms, and I'm sure anyone else who has been mayor knows that when there's a crisis, when something needs to be done, the Meriden Lions Club is always there and always will be. They set an example for everyone else in this community. I can't think of a time when they didn't come forward. I know that our city staff, everyone in city government, and I'm sure in the public, uses them to a great extent because they seem to be so willing to help. I think if you just think about it, everywhere you turn, the Lions Club has their fingerprint on it. So they do deserve a very special certificate that we're going to present to them. I'd like to call on their president, Dick Barber, to accept it. Dick?
Thank you on behalf of the Meriden Lions Club. It's great to be a part of this festivities here today, and also it's great to serve the city of Meriden. Thanks again for all your support.
Boy, I really pulled a boo for it. I introduced a Republican congressman, and I overlooked a Democratic state senator. Neither of us done.
Thank you, Henry. Clergy, all of the invited dignitaries, Mr. Mayor, Congressman Rollins, some of my colleagues that are here from the General Assembly in the office, it gives me great pleasure. There's one person I see out here I can't overlook, and that is the President Pro Tem of the Connecticut Senate, my leader, my good Republican friend, Senator Philip Robertson. Would you raise your hand, Phil? This is from the state of Connecticut by His Excellency William A. O'Neill, Governor, an official statement. The daffodil is the traditional harbinger of spring. It blossoms in bright yellow color, forecast the warmth of the coming season. In 1949, the city of Meriden received a gift of 1,000 daffodil to be planted within the borders of Hubbard Park to enhance its natural beauty. Through the years, more plants have been added and have flourished. Today, an estimated 400,000 daffodils.
So let's hope I'm lucky this night. I would ask the people to my left to move back, please, and also to cover your ears. The percussion is quite strong in this area. Must be a technical problem. I haven't seen it. The castle's still standing.
I now have the pleasure of introducing my favorite minister, Reverend Robert Potter.
The sound you just heard was the voice of the Lord. And Father Paul and I arranged for it. You can also thank Father Paul and me for the fact that it has not yet rained. As the successor and the pastor of Walter Hubbard, I would remind you of these words from the 121st Psalm. Say them tonight as you go off to sleep. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. We have lifted up our eyes. Today, we have touched history. We have felt the power of the hanging hills. This is a holy and a blessed moment. Thanks be unto thee, O God, for such a memory. May the pride we feel abide today and forever in our hearts. May God bless us.
In the closing remarks according to the program, I will be brief as I ask the others to be brief. There's one comment I would like to make. For many years, Jim Barry was Mr. Hubbard Park. He came to me one day when I was in office and said, Mr. Mayor, we need a band shell in Hubbard Park. I said, all right, how do we go about getting it? He said, well, I've already contacted 2 architects to draw some plans to see what it would look like. One was a very modernistic structure, and both Jim and I agreed that that's not the one we wanted. So he also had some cost figures on it, and he said, but Mayor, he said, we can do it with our own help. He had some masons in the park, and Mr. Tomasetti, Al's father, who passed away, made a great contribution in doing the carpenter work. So we built that rustic building with park employees, and I think it was his idea, the daffodils was his idea. I think it would be a great gesture to name the band shell in honor of Jim Barry, and I hope that the City Council will take that appropriate action. Now I think we're all ready for the dinner in the soup on part. And thank you for your kind attention, and thank you for being here today. It certainly has helped to make this a great, huge success. And I want to congratulate all the people and extend my thanks for all the work that they did in making this day possible. Now, I don't know who to, I guess that we're safe in not raining when we have a clergyman and a congressman who promised that it won't rain.
Thank you very much. I'd like to remind the people that are downhill loading, the buses are now here. People that have purchased tickets, the entrance area is now open. You can surrender your tickets for Castle Craig Button. Thank you for coming.